The state of Florida has issued a Category 5 hurricane warning. All residents must evacuate immediately. Grab your families, your loved ones, and get out.
Dad!
We won't be able to come for you.
Dad! Dad! Oh my God! What happened?
Are you hurt?
I'm fine. Hello, can anybody hear me? I'm trapped with my father in our house in Coral Lake. Please send help.
Really?
Wait, down here.
So Crawl, from producer Sam Raimi and director Alexandra Aja. This is not a subtle movie, okay? I'm a big defender of it because of it's one of these movies that absolutely knows what it is and is trying really hard to be the best at what it being what it is that it can be. Does it hold water? Like, is it credible as a premise? No. I mean, just solidly no. But the momentum of the story, the increasingly literally rising stakes of it, and the performances kept me chewing my nails for the whole time I was watching the movie in the theaters. I had a lot of fun with it. And I think that that's all the movie really wants from you. It wants to give you a good time, and it does that. And so I decided to not overthink Crawl. I decided to not think, why are there this many alligators and why are they this aggressive? And like, could the house possibly withstand that much water hitting it all at once? And how is this guy walking on a leg that's broken? All of these things that are completely legitimate. I don't know. I just took the ride with the movie. I had a dumb smile on my face. Now, when it comes down to, is it a good movie? Well, I think it's an amazingly well-made movie. I think it's like, it does exactly what it's trying to do. So on that level, yes, it's a good movie, but it is not a smart movie.
So using the dichotomy that I'm just going to use for the rest of these, I would say this falls firmly in the category of good but not special.
Right.
It well directed. The story is whatever. So it starts with our protagonist, who is she a Olympic level
She's
swimmer?
training for a swim meet of some kind, I'm not sure.
And she just comes in second at the beginning. There's an intense swimming scene, but what is it? She doesn't have the dedication or something. This is going to come up. But she's like just not quite driven enough. And we learned that her father was always driving her really hard, especially after her mother died, and he wanted her to be the best, and she never was. And then he's in Florida, and she went to visit him in his shack in Florida, and there was a hurricane, so there's a big flood, and she went to his house, which was flooded, and couldn't find him, but then she checked the cellar, and she found out he was there, but getting stalked by a giant alligator. So
And the basement was slowly filling with water.
about the first 25 minutes of the movie are just them in the cellar. Is it the first 40 minutes of them in the cellar?
So at least a half hour or so anyway, yeah.
And I remember the first scene, because you don't see the crocodile or the alligator for a long time, and the first time is like she's like backing up under the stairs or something.
She's dragging her dad, and it bursts from the stairs.
Yeah, and it was a really good jump scare.
Yeah.
If there hadn't been an alligator on the cover, I wouldn't know what kind of movie this was, and it would have totally taken me by surprise. And that was a really good moment.
Yeah. And the suspense really does work, and Alexander Aja is really good for the ouch moments, like when we see...
Yeah, there was a broken leg of some sort.
And a guy gets his arm bit off and his elbow bent completely wrong, and there's a lot of those ouch moments. I think that, well, just a minor correction, I'm pretty sure that Barry Pepper divorced their mom, and he just was refusing to sell the house that he raised the kids in. So he was living at another place. He was supposed to be selling their childhood home. She couldn't find him at his place. She goes there, but part of the thing is nobody knows that they're there. They're expecting them to be another place, and it raises the stakes of the peril. And this is her childhood home. And instead of her father trying to save her and telling her to be strong, she ends up having to be that for him. I get it. Okay.
Yeah, and so that was pretty telegraphed.
Sure. But there's also scenes where rescue comes to help them, and then for no reason a dude gets ripped apart by 5 alligators at once. That is objectively stupid, but I loved it.
So those were the seasons that I liked, because then it was like... So we were going to watch 3 movies with killer alligators or crocodiles.
Right.
One of the things that I was writing... I made a note in the first movie, and then by the end I was like scrawling it with exclamation marks all over the place. Alligators and crocodiles are not monsters, do not behave like monsters.
Yes.
So when you have like, you know, basically like the water is lava, don't touch the water, there's going to be something that jumps out at you. That doesn't really happen, but like I like those ridiculous movies, or those ridiculous scenes in the movie, because they're a bit of a reprieve from like the boring father-daughter relationship where we get it.
Yeah.
He wanted her to succeed. She didn't push herself enough. She's going to have to push herself for them to survive. She's a swimmer. It's in a flood. This is like 5 minutes of exposition and we get where this is going, and it really drags. Like their relationship gets really dull.
I guess, especially the first time I saw the movie, I didn't really feel that as much. Again, I saw it theatrically. I do think there's something different about being locked into the theatrical experience of it. But I just decided to go with the movie. And I think this is another one of those movies. I find myself saying this again and again with the podcast. If you fight this movie, you're going to win.
But so I'm going to totally disagree with you. Because I wasn't fighting it. Like,
right.
It's not like, oh, giant alligators are killing people. It's so unrealistic. The unrealistic moments were the more enjoyable ones.
Right.
It was the human moments that the movie wasn't quite up to. So it was more like it wasn't bringing me along in the story. Like, honestly, if the father gets eaten by the alligator, like, whatever, he's not that charismatic. If our hero gets eaten by an alligator, the only reason we like her in the first place is because the first scene was on her, by the language of filmmaking were on her side, but there was nothing really about them that was interesting.
I don't know. Like I was scared for her. I mean, I never doubted that she was going to get through this alive, and I think this is so clever. I lived in fear for the dog. She has a dog with her the whole time, and in any other fucking movie, that dog would be killed. Like, I was just waiting for it to happen, and I feel like the movie consciously trolled us. They kept on showing the dog doing things, oh, we're gonna get it, and the dog would be okay.
Yeah, but that's because there's no characters to care about, so we gotta care about the dog.
But
so like
they didn't kill the dog, and for me that was a win.
Yeah, and that was fine. But were you concerned about her as her character, or were you concerned about her like our perspective character?
I wasn't worried about her surviving the movie, but I was scared on her behalf.
But like her as a character, like
right.
how would you describe her character? Right. Driven. Her dad drove her hard, but like there's no personality.
She's sort of got that. She refuses to lose, not because she's not the best player, but just because she refuses to lose. Right? She's got that attitude about her, and she doesn't take loss well, even though it was by a fraction of a second. She wasn't good enough. I think the Barry Pepper thing. I like the actor. He was the sniper in Saving Private Ryan. He's a Canadian actor.
The classic Battlefield
Earth, one of his biggest roles, Lucky Man.
That was his career maker.
But it was just nice to see him this later on in his career. Solid role. He does it well. Such bullshit that he could walk on that leg. Like, it's so stupid that they have him walking on that leg.
A leg being broken is it's broken.
It's
like the transmission in your car is broken. It doesn't mean if it tries really hard, it can shift gears.
Yeah. And that is the major war of the movie for me. Like, I think if a movie's enough fun, I think I can forgive a lot, and I'm forgiving a lot. I enjoy the movie, have a lot of fun in the movie, I endorse the movie, but I would never tell anybody that it was a smart movie. I would say it's an incredibly entertaining movie. Also, just the production level, like, they built all of those houses, they built that gas station set. The whole thing was shot inside, if you can believe that shit.
Yeah,
like
practical effects were great.
it's an amazing feat of filmmaking, and it doesn't seem when you're watching like would that be such a hard movie to make? No, this would be an incredibly hard movie to make. And again, I will stand by certain sequences. As ridiculous as it is there's an alligator nest in their basement and they don't know it. When she swims in there, it's a terrifying sequence. Like
There's real suspense. I mean, my problem. This has been an ongoing thing. My fans and followers on your podcast will know this. I'm a character.
right,
I'm a character.
and the characters are thin. I won't argue.
And like, both of them, if you were to give one adjective to describe their characters,
Strong.
it's intense.
Yeah.
Like, it's just boring. So it's a problem when the dog's survival is more... I mean, everybody, I guess, roots for dogs, except for me. I don't care that much, but theoretically, I don't want dogs to get eaten by alligators, not that emotionally attached.
It's
But
that we're expecting it and that we're not given it.
yeah, and so that was one of the things. The first time the dog didn't get eaten, then all of a sudden the dog becomes Wedge from Star Wars. Like this guy, the X-Wing battle just keeps not dying. There must be something special about it.
But I think it was a conscious thing. I won't name the movie because I don't want to spoil it, but there's a movie that cast Sean Bean in it, and the character's in jeopardy through the whole movie. And because it's Sean Bean, you're like, oh, he's fucking dead, right?
I have no idea what movie.
No, I'm just saying, Sean Bean is infamous for all of his famous death scenes, right? So you have a character who's in great jeopardy, and not a main player in the movie, but somebody that we need to worry about. If it's Sean Bean, part of us just assumes the dude is dead. And I think they were doing the same thing here with the dog.
Well, so are we going to spoil the movie?
Sure.
Because I think Barry Pepper surviving.
Yeah.
Barry Pepper was always supposed to die, but then he ends up surviving. And that was... It was nice. I mean, when they both lived, I was like, that's nice. I mean, these unlikable people lived. That's nice.
It's like he's forever changed by it. He's certainly not going to be a handyman anymore.
Quite literally not.
No, and but again, I go back to it. Like the nest sequence, is it credible? No, but it's terrifying. The sequence where she jumps out of the shower stall and traps the creature in there. We just seen this thing jump through a wooden stairwell, but now shower glass is just too much.
Like, imagine if you had taken these ideas and done the screenwriting 101, where, like, what does the character want?
Yeah.
What does the character want that they don't know they want? Like, just do those two things with both of the characters would have added, like, exponentially more interest to the movie. So, all of the shots were good. The alligators jumping out were good.
Yeah.
It was intense, but I just had a hard time really engaging.
Yeah. I mean, I had a blast watching it. Maybe more than I should have. Like, it's not on Tremors level, but like...
It's not even close.
But I mean, I'm talking about being that it's a fundamentally silly movie, but I love it, right? I do agree that this is a fundamentally silly movie, but I still recommend
It's
it.
nothing to do with it being silly. Imagine it was the same movie, but instead of that father-daughter, it was Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward.
Right.
Imagine how much better it would have been. Because not only are those characters charismatic, but they both have, like, goals that they want. They both have, like, their proximate goal and then their goal that they don't know that they have as a goal. And it just you will forgive so much.
Yeah. But, and again, I'm not really comparing the two movies because I agree. Tremors is one of the greatest creature features ever made, and Crawl is a creature feature. Yeah. But I just think that, like, in the arena of silliness, yes, this is a silly movie. It's a silly, fun movie. And for the fun that it gave me, I forgave the silly.
So I'm not going to grant you that because we've got two
more to
much
go.
more silly crocodile movies. And as far as crocodile movies go, this was the Citizen Kane of crocodile movies.
Okay. To be continued. I think we know where we stand on this.
Yeah.
You liked it. I think I liked it a little bit more than you, but I can't really argue the points that you're making.
And I have no big criticism. It's a very well done movie. Relies a lot on jump scares, but a lot of love and work went into it. The crafting of it.
It does all the work for you. It's one of those things where you like, you want to watch something, but you don't feel like you're too intellectually up to meeting a movie halfway. This one will do all the work.
I give it a hard B.